Hello, we're talking about getting rid of rust today. We've got a collection of really rusty old tools here that have seen better days. Unfortunately, we've had to store them outside, so they've started to develop a bit of a rust issue and we need to get it sorted out. So we are going to try and find the best way of getting rid of rust on these tools. And we've got the commercial option over here, which is the HG Rust Remover, and we're going to put this to the test against some more everyday items that you might have around your house, such as vinegar, and we've got some baking soda as well, which we're going to make a paste from with some water. We've also got some lemon juice, a trusty favourite for cleaning jobs, some Coca-Cola, and a bit of a wild card, we've got some Irn-Bru. So we're going to just clean down the tools with a wire brush to start with, just to get rid of some of those really big bits of rust, and then we're going to line them all up and see how those solutions get on. So our preparation work is done. We've had a brush down of all of the tools and they are ready for our experiment to begin. I've just got these little containers here to separate them all out. Now I'm going to add our solutions and let's see what happens. Now, if you've got any of your own thoughts about which of these ones you think are going to win, then please do comment down below which of these you think is going to be the best rust remover. Okay, so we're 2 hours into the experiment and I've just come to have a look at what is going on. Now, we've got our rust remover at the end here, and I'm not, because that's obviously quite a strong chemical, I'm not going to delve into that one too much, but you can clearly see that a chemical reaction is taking place. We've got that foam on the top. When I look closely, I can see it kind of fizzing, and the water's obviously very murky. We did add some water to that to dilute it, because it's not necessary to have it completely neat, just so that makes it go a bit further. But definitely stuff going on in that one. Right, next up we've got the Irn-Bru. Now this is the one that I probably have the lowest hopes for. There are a few flaky bits of rust in the liquid, but I think that might just be bits that were on there from when we'd scrubbed it beforehand. Now I'm going to actually take a toothbrush to this one just to see if I scrub it a little bit, if anything's been going on. nothing's shifting when I do that. So that suggests we've had very little success with the Irn-Bru, which is no surprise. Next up, we've got the vinegar. Now, we were feeling a bit more hopeful about this one. I've seen some fizzing. There's definitely something's been going on in there. Now, if we take it out, obviously the rust still sits on the surface a bit, so we just need to scrub it away. But when we have a little scrub, we are appearing, the original metal is appearing from underneath. You can see how that's actually really starting to change it. So definitely more going on with the vinegar than the Irn-Bru. Next up, we've got the lemon. Now, this was something we weren't too sure about, but we've got to have a look again and have a bit of a scrub off. So there are some bits coming off when we give that a scrub, so it's not useless. Doesn't appear to be as effective as the vinegar, although it's doing okay. Funny smell from this one. Yeah, it's doing something, but it's certainly not cleaning it as well as the vinegar did. Now we've got the Coca-Cola. Now, much like the lemon, this definitely does seem to be doing something. Not all of the rust has disappeared, but it's definitely better than it was when we first put it in there. And finally, we've got the baking soda paste. Now, this is a bit more difficult to have a quick look at, but we can, if we just scrub away the surface there, you can see there's some coloration in that baking soda paste that's come off, which suggests it has done something, hopefully other than just remove dirt. So I think with that one, we really need a chance to just give it a bit more of a scrub and we can decide. But it's definitely not removed all of the rust, but I think perhaps done something. So we're going to leave them for another hour or so, and then I'm going to take all of them out, wash them off, give them a final scrub, and obviously I'll try to just scrub them around the same amount, and we can decide the winner and how the others have fared. While we're waiting for the other bits to finish off, I thought I'd just try a couple of manual techniques and see how they work. So here I've got some salt, some washing up liquid and some vinegar and some potatoes. And so I'm going to use the potatoes with the washing up liquid and the salt separately, and I'm going to give these rusty tools that I've got left over a rub using those. Supposedly that can help you remove rust quite quickly. And with the vinegar, I'm actually going to use some tin foil and use the same technique using that, because apparently that's also effective. So let's give it a go. I'm going to start with the potato and the washing up liquid. Just dip that in there. And I'm just going to pick something simple. So the end of this here is rusty, as you can see. So we're going to give that a bit of a rub and see what happens. Let's just move our other tools out of the way so we don't contaminate them. Okay. As you can see on the potato, there is a bit of residue coming off, so it's definitely doing something. So the reason that potatoes are supposed to be effective is because they contain oxalic acid, which helps to remove the rust. Now, what I'm discovering so far is there's definitely some rust being shifted here, but I think this method's going to take quite a long time and a reasonable amount of effort. So let's see how the salt gets on. Okay, so we've got a pair of long nose pliers here and they've got a bit of rust on as well. So we're now going to try the potato and salt technique. So just give that a bit of a dip in there. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we can see the discoloration on the potato there, suggests something's going on. Okay, so as with the washing up liquid, there does seem to be something happening, but it's not happening really quickly and it is requiring a fair bit of effort. So finally we've got a pair of old grits here and I'm just going to have a go with the vinegar and tin foil technique to see if we can get any of the rust off using that. Actually, that's doing pretty well. Out of the 3 manual techniques, I would say that is the quickest and most effective. Not too much elbow grease required with this one either. So there we go. If you have to give someone a tool back in a hurry, if they're about to turn up at your door and you've allowed their tools to turn rusty, then I would say that tin foil and vinegar could be your quickest technique for getting them clean. Has actually done a bit, hasn't it? Makes a really bad smell, the lemon. I don't know why that is. Wow. So the results are in, the votes have been counted, and we now know who is the winner of our rust removal experiment. All joking aside, we actually have really enjoyed this. It's been really good fun. So if you're ever bored, I can highly recommend setting up a rust removal experiment. You'll need to be able to get your hands on a load of rusty tools. Luckily, no problems for us there. Actually, some of them aren't so rusty anymore, so that's good news. Generally, everything's kind of fared about how we'd expect. A couple of surprises. I'll share those with you in a minute, but perhaps we can start at the bottom, look at our poor performers and work our way up. So, number 1, we've got the baking soda. So this is our rusty old hammer that we put in our baking soda, and we basically just covered this with a paste of baking soda. Now, we left them all for about 4 hours altogether, and at the end, we just took initially a toothbrush and then a wire brush and gave them a bit of a scrub. And if the rust was coming off easily, then we continued. If it wasn't, then we stopped. And with this one, really, I think it might have taken a tiny, tiny amount off, but nothing significant when it was compared with the others. So really, baking soda and rust, I would say, don't bother. So next, we've got the lemon, and this was just lemon juice, and we submerged the bottom of this. We couldn't get all of it in there into the lemon juice. And actually, this wasn't really very pleasant. It made quite a horrible smell, and it's gone this kind of black colour. Now, I'm not a scientist, but if you understand any more about what's going on here, then please do comment down below and let us know. All I can conclusively say is I wouldn't bother using lemon to remove rust, and it was a bit icky really, so we shall put that one back. Now, next up, we've got the Irn-Bru. This was the wild card. It was a bit of a joke really, and as expected, it didn't do a lot, but it did do something. This is marginally less rusty than when we began, so it wasn't a complete waste of time, but yeah, not significant enough to be worth wasting your Irn-Bru, I would say really. Drink it instead if that's what you're into. Now, the Coca-Cola, similar to Irn-Bru actually, although I'm sure the makers of Irn-Bru would disagree with that. But once again, we didn't manage to submerge all of this in there, but you can see that it has made a difference. It has actually taken quite a bit of that rust off. So I would say it actually performed marginally better than the Irn-Bru. The scary thing, of course, is what's it doing to your teeth and your insides when you're drinking it, if it can do that to rust. But if Coke is all you've got and you really desperately wanted to get something rust-free, then it's probably worth a go. Right, now we're almost on to our winners. I'm going to actually just move all of these out of the way so we can get on to the big guns and talk serious rust removal. That's what you're here for. If you've stuck around this long, then I reckon you're pretty serious about rust removal. I know that I am now. I'm actually thinking, where can I find my next rusty object? It's too much fun. I can't contain myself. I can't pick a winner from these two, that's why I've got them both here, but we've got the vinegar and we've got the commercial rust remover, and we chucked in an extra approach, which was using vinegar with tin foil. Once we took them out of the vinegar, we gave them a little brush up with a wire brush, and they are absolutely beautiful. So we've had these for over 10 years and they were handed down to us, and they've been rusty ever since we've had them. We can't really believe that we've been using them and lived with them like that for so long, and now look at them, they are sparkling, really amazing, almost good as new, not quite. The handles could do with perhaps some attention. Really, for just vinegar, the most amazing thing about that was that we could just leave them lying around in vinegar. You know, there's nothing to worry about, it's not toxic, could just sit there for however long you wanted. These were in there for about 4 hours and they've come up like that. Whether or not leaving them any longer would produce even better results, I don't know. But as I said, using the vinegar with the tin foil actually instantly was quite effective. So the vinegar gets a huge thumbs up, I think, for that result. But we can't ignore the rust remover. As it said on the tin, it removed the rust, and we pulled these out and actually rinsed them off, and they barely needed any scrubbing at all. So it did do a really effective job. They look almost as good as new, but obviously comes at a price tag. Also really not the kind of stuff you want hanging around. So if you're looking at leaving things to soak, as we did with these, then you've got to obviously be very careful that no children or pets or anything are going to come into contact with that. So my preference, really, considering how good results the vinegar gave, you know, they were quite comparable really. I would be choosing the vinegar every time because it's cheaper, it's safer, and I don't really see the need for the rust remover. But it was great to try them both. It was great to have that comparison so we could make that decision. So there we go. That is the results of our rust removal extravaganza. It's been super fun. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. If you did, please do give the video a thumbs up. And if you're new here, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. I post lots of home-based content, so it would be great to see you again very, very soon. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and bye-bye for now. To stay up to date with all of my latest content, then please do subscribe to my channel. To do that, you just need to go onto my channel and click the subscribe button. And once you've done that, you can also click on the bell notification button, and that will make sure that you're notified whenever there's a new video.